Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, and yeah, we're just continuing on with the tower. Now we're in the other section, which is a lot more boxed in, and just dealing with, like, you know, choke point, choke point, choke point, choke point, choke point, choke point. Choke point, yeah, it's choke point central, ladies and gentlemen. But, you know, there aren't as many enemies here, you just gotta have, you know, essentially good tanks. The ones who've got the speed to, against the hyena type enemies, ones who can tank the, whatchamacallit, the spiders. So yeah, deploy your Cavalier or your Seth or whatever you want. Or, yeah, no Sacred Stones, deploy anything and you'll be alright. Deploy a Dancer and you'll be fine. Yeah, you know, I've had a bit of a rest. My mouth feels a lot better, so I can talk for longer, which is good, because I've still got questions to get through. And, yeah, let's have this can go there, cool. Oh yeah, it's just a support bonus. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. Apparently I know what I'm doing. Yeah. But I do like how the map does change things up every now and then. It's not like just the same. The layouts do change, so you do implement different strategies, so to speak. Yeah, but again, oh. It means like you weren't even worth the dodge. You were just not worth it. Tragic. Absolutely tragic, I swear. Anyway, I think it's best we get round to these questions as of now, because yeah, there's not much I can say about Sacred Stones in terms of the training tower. It's like it's purple and they have spiders. Okay, so anyway, where was I? Yeah, I don't know why I just call these things hyenas. I don't know why. They're not fast enough for Marissa though. So yeah, so from Francisco Hernandez, what is your opinion on Dodogama? Alright, that's the monster from Monster Hunter World. It's kind of like the Tetsukabra, like it belches up and like has a huge jaw. Honestly, it was kind of forgettable. I faced it a few times, but I didn't get much from it. It was a bit slow. Obviously, it had decent AoE and very good frontal attacks, but it just kind of reminded me of a slower Tetsukabra, and it was alright. I mean, it's like, its design's kind of cute, because again, it's kind of like the whole toad thing, but because it's more rounded at the edge, and its thing looks like, and its mouth looks like a club. So that's kind of cool. But again, I can't really say much. It kind of looks like a weird... Again, it's kind of like... I'm trying to think of a monster that kind of like pukes up stuff or like uses a lot of like frontal mouth-based attacks. The Tetsukabra bites a lot and he occasionally throws a rock, but that's not really like puking up. There is a monster out there that likes to puke up stuff. I'm just trying to remember it. Like it just kind of like surrounds the area and puke. Oh, I'm trying to think. It's not coming to me, but yeah. So it's like that. Muse Tetsukabra. It's an alright monster, it's just not particularly for me. Yeah. It's not for me. Oh, she finally got strength. Fuckingly. But the next question I can, you know, go into much more detail about. What is your opinion on Three Houses so far? Well, we've only... Alright, so obviously, I haven't been watching everything. I haven't been watching everything regarding the game. I've been watching bits and pieces, mainly the bigger trailers, but not every single bit of information. But so far, Three Houses, potentially favourite Fire Emblem game, and I'll go into why. Well, first of all, the premise just looks cool. You have 3 different houses against each other, thanks to the time skip now that, you know, they will be hostile to each other, so, you know, it's not just all buddy-buddy, which is going to be interesting. And it also looks like we're, like, the main, we're like the main oppressive force, and we're trying to just, like, squash out rebellion. Which, again, kind of like a Conquest did, but obviously this probably has a bit better writing. We'll have to wait and see. So it looked really, really interesting just from a narrative perspective, but also interesting that you have 3 different lords that, while I'm sure they're friends, obviously they're going to turn against each other when the going gets tough and they get older. So that's going to be interesting to see how the friendship break down and see them, like, how they're going to, like, what's going to happen. Like, imagine if, like, say, Elgar took, Dimitri's eye, how's he going to feel towards her and stuff like that, and so on. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. In terms of gameplay, obviously there's a big focus on the downtime. Oh, okay, Kyle's apparently not very fast, but again, he can tank, so it doesn't matter. There's a big emphasis on the downtime between the missions. The game has a real stickler, as it seems, for the likes of, say, you know, level up. You teach your students, you know, obviously, but also you go fishing, you prepare meals, you talk to them and ask them, like, maybe to work on specific scenes, you give private lectures, you can go grinding elsewhere, you can try out different class lines. The game looks very open for a Fire Emblem game. There's a lot to do, and it seems that you can kind of play the game the way you want it, like what class do you want to assign, what weapon do you want to focus on, which house do you want to go, what do you want to do? Do you want to just like not really give students lectures? Do you want to just go straight, like do the bare minimum and go straight to it, or do you really want to invest in them and just take forever? It looks like the game looks like to be centered around that, and I like that kind of freedom with the game. It looks interesting because of that. And not only that, but you still have mechanics like, you know, like the Miller's Turnwheel, which I'm very grateful to see, and you've also got like some new things, like again some of the bond attacks when you have like 4 units paired up together and stuff like that, and you also have the likes of, oh god, I had it. Yeah, you have the giant, oh there goes the crit. You have the like the giant monsters and stuff like that that you have to fight, which looks, again, it looks really, really cool. Again, Three Houses just like there's just stuff about it that looks really, really awesome. But also, I think another thing that I'm really digging about Three Houses is the setting. It looks like a, obviously it's not modern day, but it looks like a more up-to-date Fire Emblem game with like the way the academy is, the way things look, the type of setting. You know, it just looks more, you know, not as old-fashioned, and I really like that. It looks more modern, and I like that aesthetic to it. You know, I really like this just the visual look of Three Houses. Again, the character designs aren't as distinct because everyone's in uniform for the most part, but the actual overall look of the game looks really, really cool. There's this weird, like, dark atmosphere to it, and it's really interesting. So I'm very interested with that with Three Houses. There's other stuff too about Three Houses that looks interesting. The only thing I'm not digging at the moment is the battle animations. I think they look pretty because people just kind of swipe once and it's not very like dramatic. But again, that's just battle animations. But also some of the new weapons, like the gauntlets, look interesting because they look like automatic brave weapons, which would really benefit the Knight class. Again, it's just some of the skills look cool. Some of the maps look pretty decent. Again, we'll have to look more into it. It just looks to be a really, really interesting game. And again, it's offering so much new stuff that I'm most excited for. Just like, what's it doing that's new? You know, what's it offering? How's it gonna affect the rest of FE? You know, is it going to be a change for the best? Is it going to be something that's permanent or temporary? I'm really interested to see, you know, where it goes from there. So yeah, Three Houses looks really interesting so far. Again, depending on how things go and like stuff like how it's written, how well the gameplay is balanced, all the optional stuff you can do, it could potentially be my favorite Fire Emblem game. And that would put it in my top 10 games of all time, because, yeah. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, it might not be that great. I get the feeling it will be a good game regardless, but how good, we'll have to wait and see. But it definitely looks interesting, to say the least. And there goes the crit. Sorry, I'm still a little bit on this high end of the spectrum. But we can get through this. Right, so, yeah, Three Houses looks damn good. And again, the trailers have really helped too, just because they've been showing us some really nice stuff. It's been different each time. It's just, you know, we're just getting better context, but not revealing too much. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the Cerberus. Three-headed dog. Looks cool, though. Does he get level up? He does. Yeah. Bosses usually do that, like a free level up. Yeah, not bad for running out some of the other stats. Again, we're not going to use them in the long run, but might as well for now. Yeah, okay, so next floor. That's the 5th one. I can't remember how many floors there are. I think there's 10. I can't remember. Oh, right, this one is monotonous. Enemy variety, very lacking. Just like choke point, choke point, choke point, choke point, choke point. There's at least treasure, but this is probably the worst one. Just because it's like nothing to do. It's really dull. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I find this one extremely dull. I mean, granted, you know, there's still a lot of enemies to kill, so, you know, again, there's that, but just overall, I was just like, throughout this, I was like, oh my god, this is kind of painful. Anyway, yeah, so, oh, my weapon rank did increase. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, they're trying to attack. If that archer tries to attack loot, I'm going to be severely disappointed. Again, gotta raise him support levels. Alright, next question was from... oh yeah, Allied Bros. Your least favourite and your favourite Fire Emblem game. Well, Three Houses could go either way. I doubt it'll be least favourite. Alright, let's start with least, and yes, it's still Shadow Dragon. I don't have anything... Alright, I can't say I don't have anything against the game, because otherwise it wouldn't be my favourite. I do think Shadow Dragon is a good game. It's one of the better RPGs on the DS. It's still a very solid game. It still has really good, you know, gameplay-wise, Shadow Dragon is very good and well-designed, you know. It's really well-balanced in terms of just mechanics and how it it works and stuff like that. It is a good update to the original NES game. You know, it's still, you know, some, you know, and all that stuff. But it's least favorite for me just because I find it hard to get invested in Shadow Dragon. Like, yeah, from a technical aspect, Shadow Dragon is great, but there's so much more to FE than just the mechanics and the gameplay. In the case of Shadow Dragon, the story, alright, story-wise, it's just kind of there. It's obviously, it's not a bad narrative, but it's just there because you just go, like, you get a brief thing at the beginning, and that's it. There's bit, and then once the mission ends, you get a brief thing, and then you just go on to the next one. Whereas other FE games, they delved in a bit more as to like what was actually going on after the mission was clear or before the mission started. This game, Shadow Dragon, really doesn't. So yeah, character-wise, again, the characterization is pretty minimal. Like some characters like Minerva get a bit, but overall, not much happens. You know, Sheeta gets a bit, but again, because there's no support conversations, not much happens. The characters just kind of there, they have a few conversations, and that's about it. And again, for a lot of the cast, they have their recruitment conversation and nothing else. So, you know, because of that, I'm not invested in any of the characters. I don't care what goes on in the story. And adding on to that, while the game is very well designed, I also don't find it that much fun to play, just because I don't know what it is about Shadow Dragon. Specifically, because again, I know that just have fun going. I know that mechanically it's one of the most balanced, but there's something about it again. It's just like not that much fun to go for. I guess maybe because unless you lose like the Forged Rider's Bane, you can't really go nuts, so to speak, with stats and things. Because Shadow Dragon is designed the way where weapons, like the actual weapon ranks and forged weapons, mean more than actual like bases and all that jazz. But I guess it's also the lack of class variety, because that extends to the enemies too. Because again, there are no like Great Knights, there are no assassins, there are no mage knights and all that jazz. So yeah, because of that, again, to be fair, like, other RPG games are like that too. Again, there's no Great Knights in 7, but again, it's just remember this is like this is after 10, you know, Shadow Dragon. Oh, and there goes the crit. Man, Kyle is really self-absorbed. On top of that, visually, it's a very dull game to watch and look at, and because that kind of puts me to sleep. Because again, I don't like the colorization is also kind of flat. Again, the colorization is kind of flat. The landscapes look murky. The portraits, I don't. Again, there's like I know it's a bit more photorealistic, but it really doesn't blend well if you ask me. The characters just look kind of, I don't know, they just look kind of ugly, to be honest. The battle animations are incredibly basic, and the sprites look awful, so that doesn't help. Music-wise, it's not a bad soundtrack, and like A Hero's Destiny, I love that song so much, but overall, I'm not a big... It has the same problem that the original Gen 3 Pokemon had. I just don't like the instrumentation, like the instruments they use in the sound clip. Overall, I don't like it. Again, there are some good tracks, don't get me wrong, but I don't like it. So, yeah, Shadow Dragon is a game where it's mechanically good, I just can't get invested in it. Even like games like, even some of the other fighting games which have more flaws, you get invested because of other elements that really stand out. Shadow Dragon doesn't have any of that, so, to me. So, again, I find it hard to get invested. Even when I went back to get the violent footage, because again, you don't get violent until a while, I was just playing through the game normally, and I was getting so bored. It was unbelievable. Oh, good lord. There goes forward. Good lord, there goes forward. Okay, so, yeah, Shadow Dragon is my least favourite. Not a bad game, it's just one where I'll play it once and then not play it again for God knows how long, which I can't say for other Fire Emblem games. Favourite at the moment is Fire Emblem 7. Ironically, 7 is kind of like a weird thing with Shadow Dragon where it's kind of like, oh, there goes a crit. It's kind of like, it doesn't excel in any area, but at the same time, 7 has a lot of stuff I really like about it, because, again, I know there's a lot of people who have broken down why 7 is one of the lesser Fire Emblem games from a technical aspect, and I get that because unit balancing isn't perfect, still better than 6. Some of the maps can be a bit whereas I think the map design overall is pretty solid. Not the best, but you know, I think map design wise is better than the best of the 3 GBA games. Difficulty, it's easier than most Fire Emblem games. Again, not the easiest. It's sure as highlight Sacred Stones and Path of Radiance. What else? Like, story-wise, it's not nearly as epic as some of the other Fire Emblem games, which is both positive and negative to me. It has the whole stupid double damage thing. It has Lin mode. And, you know, stuff like that, which I get. But for me, iOS 7 just has a lot of charm to it, and because it doesn't have that many big flaws to me. Like, again, the map design I think is overall pretty good. Yeah, there's some that suck, but there's a lot of ones I really like. Character-wise, Rust I really like. It's my I'm gonna say like well, favorite GBA roster, because like my favorite roster is like Awakening and then Tellius and then Fate, well, Conquest and Echoes. But favorite GBA roster, I really like the characters. Like they all feel unique in their own way, and most of them are pretty fun. Like they, and they've got varied personalities too, and I really like that. They're both visually interesting and they're different in just terms of their personalities as well. And again, I also like the characters in FE7. They all look very visually distinct. Like some of them are a bit more cliche anime, some of them are quite over the top in a different way, some of them are really strange. I like that. Again, I like that about FE7. It has nice visual appeal. Soundtrack wise, weakest of the GBAs, but still strong overall. It has that wonderful Together We Ride remix. Gameplay wise, again, I don't like the whole double damage thing, but at the same time, I like, what do you call it? I just, the gameplay I still find to be a lot of fun, and yeah, and stuff like that. Again, also, I feel the game has a good amount of replay value, because you've got lim mode if you want, you've got the stuff you can unlock like on hard mode, like the extra chapters with Nagal, that one in chapter 19 XX or something like that, I think it is. Yeah, or 18 XX, I can't remember. And you also got Hector mode and Hector hard mode, which I feel adds replay value too. You have, what else do I really like about the game? Again, story-wise, yeah, it's one of the less grand ones, but I love the more personal involvement they have, like with Lynn's arc, Ellerwood's stuff that he goes through, Hector as well, and his friendship with Ellerwood. I like the dynamic between the three lords. I really, really like how some of the secondary characters like Matthew, Pent, Louise, and stuff like that are involved in the narrative. It feels like the whole cast is a bit more involved, even and stuff like that. I just really enjoy Fire Emblem 7 again. I just find myself going back to it frequently, and I just find it to be a lot of fun. It's not the perfect or the best in certain aspects, but I feel it does most, if not everything, pretty well. And again, that's what I really like about it. And again, it doesn't visually bore me. I don't find elements, even the elements it doesn't do particularly well, I don't find them to be awful, aside from, say, the lack of double damage. That's really, really annoying. Sorry, the lack of triple damage. That's really, really annoying. But aside from that, it's unlike Shadow Dragon, the story I'm at least engaged with and the characters I care about, because I think they're pretty good. Visually, it still uses the GBA thing. It's not like a massive improvement from my play, but it still looks really nice. Music-wise, I'm down with the music. Yeah, whereas Shadow Dragon, I only really like one track. And yeah, just all that stuff. I really do like Fire Emblem 7 a lot. And I think I don't have it, a lot of people with 7, I know there's nostalgia preference. I don't have that. I think 7 was the 5th Fire Emblem game I played. By then, I'd already played, I had played Awakening, I had played Sacred Stones many times, I had played Path of Radiant, and I played Radiant Dawn, then I played 7. So I was like, yeah, 7. Really, really, really like 7. I get why people wouldn't like it, but for me, at the moment, it's my favourite Fire Emblem game. Three Houses may challenge that, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, that's my favourite and least favourite. Again, will things change? Again, I have yet to play the likes of, 12 and Thracia. I doubt 12 will be there, but Thracia may be least favourite, and 12 may end up being my favourite. Who knows? Just have to wait and see at this point. So, who's next? Yeah, sorry that, this is kind of monotonous, just because of... Oh, but again, at least with these crits, they're really looking forward to Three Houses. Really looking forward to it. Okay, so, next up is... Alright. Jerry Doyle, are you going to play Dragon Ball Hero? And if so, which class are you going to play as? Well, there goes the crit. No, I'm not going to play Dragon Ball Hero because... Well, I feel the market is oversaturated with Dragon Ball Z games to the point where, unless one really does something to grab my attention, I'm not going to pick it up because, again, there's so many of them, especially during during the PS2 and Xbox 360 era. There are so many fucking Dragon Ball games, it's ridiculous. So I kind of don't again, I've got Fighters Z. So, that's kind of the only Dragon Ball game I need at the moment. I know there's Dragon Ball Kakarot coming out, but it's also doing the thing of the whole... Well, Kakarot's doing the whole, I'm going to retell the story of, the Saiyan, Frieza, and Cell saga. Again! It's oh my god, we know the story! That's why I like Dragon Ball Super. It had a unique story arc. It wasn't perfect, it was still pretty silly, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was so much fun. But yeah, so I'm not going to get Dragon Ball Heroes. Again, I have nothing against the game, I'm just not interested because Dragon Ball's so oversaturated. When I was growing up, Dragon Ball games were just so oversaturated. And I get why. Because the franchise is one of, if not the biggest anime and manga franchise of all time, and 2, Dragon Ball lends itself to video games easily, either as an RPG or as a fighting game. Either way, you can't really go wrong with Dragon Ball fighting games, just as Dragon Ball game, just too many of them. Way too many of them. At least for my liking. I know they have slowed down, but I'm still not, you know... there's so much fatigue. Dragon Ball fatigue, if you will. Okay. Right, so now we have a question from... Hold on a second. Karuma Kitsune 16. With each avatar, Robin, Korin, Chris, etc., which do you think is the best? Also, for each one, do you prefer male or female? So, in terms of objective performance, I think Robin is the overall best. I think Chris is the weakest, but Chris is still really good. I can't remember because I haven't played Shadow Dragon, but if I remember correctly, Chris is the weakest, but still really good. Korin is the best or second best unit in Fate, and Robin is the straight up best unit in Awakening. No two ways about it. I think Robin is the best because, well, Korin, like, you know, they all have the perfect availability thing, and Korin has Dragonstone and sword usage, but Robin has sword and he has tome usage, and, you know, tome usage speaks for itself. You know, in Awakening, tomes are just so good, so I think that's what really helps Robin. Also, because you know how busted power up is and all that jazz, you know, Robin can be extremely potent with it, and also think because Robin can reclass into Darkflyer somehow if it's female, and yeah, just Darkflyer speaks for itself. So yeah, as for the gender versions, well, again, Chris I can't say, so you know, can't comment on Chris. As for Robin, female Robin and male Robin aren't that different, but I think I lean more towards male Robin supports, the ones that are different. I generally prefer male Robin's ones, just because I feel like female Robin's ones, I feel some of them get like long because they can get a little too silly at times, but others, like, whereas male Robins are a bit more consistent, which I like. As for Korin, definitely female, just that's mainly due to Warriors, because Warriors Korin is like, well, here's the thing about Korin. As much as I don't like Korin, one, Korin looks cute, right, female Korin especially, looks and acts very, very sweet. She, you know, she is a very lovely looking lady, and I will not deny that for her. Korin looks absolutely lovely. Then Warriors, again, I liked her optimism. It wasn't overbearing. She only interjected when she needed to, and it came, again, the way she did it just felt very natural. She wasn't like naive. She was just really, really sweet in that game, and I think that really helps with Korin's charm. And again, it's because of that. I get why people would like Korin because she is so sweet. I just don't like in Fates how, well, Korin was more naive in that game rather than sweet, and also how everyone just revolved around them. Whereas in Warriors, it's not that everyone revolved around Korin; they just really, really respected Korin. So again, that worked a lot better to me. So yeah. Yeah, but overall, I mean, character-wise, in terms of which one's better, there is no better one because they're the same character, essentially. It's just a case of personal preference with me. Yeah. Oh, God. I'm getting exhausted again. Sorry. Don't worry, we'll get through this. We'll get through this. Alright. So, oh yeah, same person, different question. Speaking of which, will you be doing a live stream of Free Houses like you did with Warriors? Yes, I will. I mentioned this in the other part, but I'll cover it again. So, yeah, I am live streaming and Let's Playing Free Houses at the same time. The day Free Houses comes out, I'll live streaming in the evening, you know, Twitch, 9 o'clock, UK time as I do. For Twitch, for streaming, it's Blue Lions, just because, again, I'm Let's Playing Black Eagles, and I can spend more time with the Black Eagles because I'm Let's Playing it. Whereas Blue Lions have to wait between streams. So, I'll do that, depending on how that goes, you know, and then I reckon I'll move to Golden Deer and Black Eagles. I don't know which one. I might do Golden Deer, just because, you know, I would have already experienced Black Eagles, but we'll have to wait and see. I do not know. But, you know, I plan to live stream all those, and then when it comes to Black Eagles, obviously I'll live stream that, but I'll use different, like, units, I'll use different class assignments if I feel like it, and stuff like that. I'll probably get player input on as to how I should progress with the game for the Black Eagles one. So, yeah, I will live stream it. Yeah. Sorry. I'm very sorry. Okay. Oh, there goes the crit. Christ loot. You really, really needed to do 72 damage? Apparently so. Apparently so. Yeah, now it's starting to thin out, but like I said, this can go on for what feels like for fucking ever. Yeah, this is why I don't like to choose Rogue in this game, because I really don't like the battle animations. I think they're very, very, very boring. And I know that's a kind of a silly thing to fuss over considering their utility, but I'm sorry, Rogues, again, the way they fight, really don't like it. There's no appeal to them. Design's alright, but again, there's like no appeal to the way they fight. It's just really, really boring. Especially the crit. Oh, let's spin the dagger around and do the same thing. The Toxin Lance. Well, it's not the Effie fan-based lance this time, it's a different fan-base. Which one? I'll let you decide. Oh, level up. And this is Renak, this is why I don't deploy you. Alright. Next up is... hold on a second. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break for now, but for when we come back, we're going to move on to the next Sanctum. And we're going to finish up this Sanctum, then move on to the next one. God, this one's taking forever. And we are going to see France and Amelia's support come full circle, and just explore more of the characters as well. But until then, thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care, and have a wonderful day.